Recently, there has been a lot of questions on how immigration is affecting the United States. Immigration can include both legal and illegal immigrants, and both have a positive and negative effect on the economy. The main question is whether or not there should be stronger immigration laws put in place in order to provide a better environment for the citizens of the United States. Some areas that immigration laws may have an effect on include the control over population growth, the availability of job openings of Americans at all levels, and the acts of terrorism that are being committed. By knowing how stronger immigration laws will affect U.S. citizens in these particular areas, Americans will be able to determine whether or not they believe there should be restrictions on immigration in the future. According to CIS.org, in Stephen Camarota's article, Projecting Immigration's Impact on the Age and Size Structure of the 21st Century American Population, from Center for Immigration Studies, published December 2012, accessed on April 30, 2016, the findings show that immigration makes for a much larger overall population. America was at a population of 309 million in 2010, and if immigration continues, the population will rise to 436 million by 2050. Without any immigration at all, the population would only grow by 31 million by this time. The Census Bureau assumes that net immigration by 2050 will total 68 million. In 2050, the immigrant share of population will be nearly 1 in 5 residents of the U.S., with a 1/3 reduction of immigration over the next few decades. The population growth in the U.S. will still increase by tens of millions. Those who support low immigration look at congestion, pollution, loss of open spaces, and restrictions on personal freedom. Meanwhile, those who support high immigration believe that it will create opportunities for consumers, workers, and businesses. On the HamiltonProject.org, in Michael Greenstone and Adam Looney's article, What Immigration Means for U.S. Employment and Wages, from the Hamilton Project, published on May 4, 2012, accessed on April 30, 2016, it states, although many are concerned that immigrants compete against Americans for jobs, the most recent economic evidence suggests that on average immigrant workers increase the opportunities and incomes of Americans. They do this by creating new businesses, which creates more job opportunities. When it comes to competing for jobs in the U.S., immigrants and American citizens are not competing for the same jobs because immigrants are working the jobs that Americans do not want to work. Economists have found that immigrants slightly raise the average workers' wages of all U.S.-born workers. Economists do not tend to find that immigrants cause any sizable decrease in wages and employment of U.S.-born citizens, and instead may raise wages and lower prices in the aggregate. On the other hand, immigration may reduce wages for certain groups of workers, which may include low-skilled workers and college graduates. On Cato.org, in Daniel Griswold's article, Don't Blame Immigrants for Terrorism, from Cato Institute, published October 23, 2001, accessed on April 30, 2016, it says, the U.S. government must strengthen its efforts to stop terrorists or potential terrorists from entering the country, but the government should not make a wider effort to close the borders to immigrants. It would be best if the federal government would implement whatever procedures are necessary to deny entry to anyone with terrorist connections, a criminal record, or other ties that would indicate a potential to commit terrorist acts. There have been political debates on closing borders due to the recent ISIS attacks and Syrian refugees. With a major confrontation breaking out in the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, many refugees are fleeing from these areas to come to America. And ISIS has recently attacked other places, such as Paris, Brussels, Turkey, and Egypt. Since ISIS originated in Iraq and Syria, there has been many questions on whether or not it is safe to let Syrian refugees into the country. Although there isn't much terrorism in America related to immigrants, the government may be taking a risk by letting these refugees in. With that being said, terrorism cannot be completely prevented, no matter what the law is. Just in the past 6 years, there has been 20 terrorist acts in the United States. So if immigration laws do not become stricter, the population will continue to grow at a rapid rate, reaching extremely high numbers. Even though overpopulation may become an issue, the growth may create more jobs for Americans due to immigrants starting new businesses and could possibly help the U.S. economy in many ways. Terrorism isn't a major issue in America right now, but without stricter laws, there could be potential for future attacks. So as one can see, immigration can have both a positive and negative effect on America. But with stricter immigration laws, the American government will have more control in making the United States a safer and more successful environment for the people.